Okay, I think I'm on. Hi, this is Keiko from Brooklyn Shoe Space. How are you? Happy 2021. This year, I feel like it's a good start. It's a great week to start the Shoe Talks back again. I'm going to try to do Shoe Talks whenever I can in between my work. I think it'll be maybe twice, maybe 3 times, sometimes once a month. But I'll put it on the calendar on our website, and I'll also send emails out like a week ahead, and I'll also post on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. But there's a lot of great makers, shoe brands that have agreed to talk to me. So it'll be great if you can join us then. Let's see if Bill is here. Yes, he is. Okay, hold on. I haven't done this for a while. Oh, someone's saying there's no sound. You can't hear me? That's weird. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Okay, maybe not. I'm gonna go live with... Okay. Oh, thanks, Milan. How are you? How is everybody? Okay, I just sent a request to Bill, District Leather Supplies. You can... Oh, here we are.
Using a
Hi.
giant, messy workbench area.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So good to see you in person.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. This is great.
Yeah, wow, it's so colorful behind you. Where are you at right now?
So this is one of the rooms in our shape space at District Leather Supply. I think it used to be a conference room, but this is our workshop room. So I've got all our shoemaking stuff here, sewing machines, and this is where like any kind of R&D or prototypes we do get made.
Okay, well,
So it's a giant cluttery mess, but it's kind of cool actually. There's stuff.
yeah, it's very cool, very cool. Yeah, no, so tell us, I mean, this whole shoe talk started from, during COVID times, but how has last year been, just to kind of reflect? I saw that you moved during the pandemic. Was that, did you move during the pandemic, or did you like expand, or?
Yeah, we grew a lot actually during the pandemic. I think everybody being at home, anybody who was a crafter crafted more, and a lot of other people who wanted a hobby got into leathercraft. So fortunately, it could have gone either way for us on the supply side, and we got really lucky that that we had a really good customer base already, and it just continued to grow through the first half of the year.
Oh, that's great. How
Yeah,
was your
so
like
it's been
vendor relations? Like, have things like got stuck in different countries, and with all the borders being closed sometimes, like, did you have any like supply chain like issues?
Yeah, we had to learn how to do some things differently. We import our thread from Japan and some other tools, and we've been shipping through, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was essentially through the post office. It was an express method, and that got completely shut down. We had a thread order that got held up for like 6 weeks, so I ended up replacing a duplicate order, sending it DHL. So DHL has been the way to go for everything lately, but it's
A lot of
pricey. Yeah, so fortunately we've been able to keep our prices despite the exchange rate went up with Europe, or with the euro, and logistics have just been insanely expensive, but we're doing our best to keep it fair for everybody.
Very cool. Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, the company, like how did you get into leather supply? But before that, I think you also make leather goods. So how did you get into leather goods in general? How did you start?
Yeah, so I was a consultant for a long time, about 13 years out
Wow.
of college, and I did human resources consulting, first on the strategy side, then I got into software implementation. And so I did the software side for about 10 years. And on my last project, that was about when the Apple Watch came out. Really exciting, like nobody like this, but the Apple Watch came out for pre-order, and I saw that there was a leather strap, and it was like $150. It's like, wait a minute. So at the time, you know, because I was, you know, kind of a little douchey consultant somewhat. You know, I had a leather Toomey briefcase. You know, that's how we would flex, and so I was looking for alternatives and ended up finding Saddleback. And I think that was a lot of people's entry into leathercraft was the Saddleback brand. And a big part of that was all the kind of informative and educational videos they had on the website, lots of YouTube content. But I like the idea of they'll fight over it when you're dead and like long lasting leather goods. It was just really appealing to me. And they sold scrap bags.
Oh.
And I said, okay, well, you know, for less than $150, I could buy one of these scrap bags and some tools from Amazon and just kind of figure it out. I can make a watch strap. And that's what I did. And it was way harder than I thought it was going to be. And the first one turned out terribly.
Did you use it?
I didn't use it, no. I was kind of embarrassed by it. Because anyway, so, but I kept it. So it's going to go in the museum one day. But, you know, like, for example, there was a YouTube video that taught about burnishing, and this leather was chrome tan, so you really couldn't burnish it, but they had burnished with a soldering iron burnished. So that's what I did to the edges the very first time I made something, is I burned them with a soldering iron. I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. So
Just different.
it's been a long road since then. But whenever I traveled for the project, I kept the cutting mat in my suitcase and in a kind of a case of leather tools. And so I led the project implementation. We'd go have a team dinner, and then like 9 p.m. I'd get back to the hotel room, break everything out, and work until like 4 a.m. making a wallet or something.
Wow. Wow, that's cool. And you never got your tools confiscated, like at the airports and stuff?
No, that happened a few times. Yeah, the pricking irons, a few times TSA pulled them out. What's going on with this? And I'd pull out a wallet and I'd explain, here's what these are for. They're not dangerous. And eventually I had to start like checking my bag because of that. So that was like my worst fear, was having to throw out my pricking irons because I couldn't security.
Wow.
But yes, I continued that for a while. And while I was on the project, kind of built my brand, District Leather. And District because I'm originally from DC. I moved to Atlanta, I don't know, it's about 12 years ago now, but I'm originally from the area, or DC area. And I thought it was a cool name. And yeah, so I came up with the brand in 2016. And by 2017, I had enough wholesale business and enough customers. And I worked a lot with Shell Cordovan, which was really popular.
Yeah.
That I was able to somehow, I still don't know, convince my wife, and I've got two little kids too, two little girls, that I really wanted to get out of the corporate world. I could do some independent consulting half-time and leathercraft the other half. And leathercraft just kind of took over, and I figured I'd do my best to make that work.
Yeah. Wow. And then how did that turn into sneaker making and then also to supplies?
So I've always been really interested in and intrigued by shoes and footwear. And one of the reasons I have like insanely big feet, and I always have. So depending on the brand, I wear anywhere between like a 1340 to a 15, in sneakers. So it's always been tough to find shoes that fit me. And, you know, I got really into the Red Wing brand. And Red Wing stops their wide widths at 13, and so I tried to make that work, and I ended up really messing up my toe because of blisters and stuff. And so like I need to figure out how to do this, like if I'm gonna like really get what I want. Yeah. And so I bought some boots and shoes and just started dissecting them just to understand. And this is 4 years ago. I was just fascinated by it, and so that's how I kind of got into it. As I was always really interested, and then just like my curiosity took over, and I just tried to figure out how to get it done. And that kind of spilled over into sneakers. And I've been following JBF, so Jacob Ferrato. Yeah. You know, he's so good at what he does, and had the good fortune to be able to train with him about a year and a half ago. And he really helped me connect the dots, like all the things that I had known about boot making and shoe making just from like casual observation. Like he really helped me solidify a lot of the concepts and pattern making and things like that. So really kind of taught me to fish, and I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And then from there, you just took it and you are making the AJs AJ ones with the shell cordovans?
Yeah,
Is
so
that?
I have a pretty huge stockpile of shell cordovan I don't tell many people about. Horween and I were friends for a while, and
Uh-huh.
I stocked up. So I'd always had this idea that I would make some shell cordovan shoes and then start with sneakers.
Uh-huh.
And I really wanted to make more. And I took a few commissions. The first commission pair I had was the pair of red and black high tops that you posted.
Yeah.
So that was like my probably fifth pair of shoes ever, and I was really
Wow.
proud of those. And
Yeah.
I love shell cordovan, especially from Horween, and really
Yeah.
wanted to get into it. And then because unfortunately, with what happened with COVID, my attention had to focus on, or I had to focus more attention on the supply side and making sure that we could sustain the growth there. So any kind of shoemaking I've done over the past year has just been kind of like R&D, like trying out some new leathers and, you know, working with some tanneries to get like elephant print made, for example, and then
Nice.
working with suede. That way I could speak to customers when they ask questions about it, and I can attest to, you know, its properties and how it is to work with. And that's really important to me.
Yeah.
You know, having started this as a maker,
Uh-huh.
everything that I started selling was stuff that I used.
Uh-huh.
And so I took a lot of pride in the fact that I could speak to all of that, and I was a fellow maker and, you know, really part of this community and not just serving it.
Yeah.
And so I feel the same obligation with shoes. Like, even if I'm not showing things off, like I want to, you know, have worked with these materials and tools and have vetted them before everybody else gets their hands on them. I think that's really important.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And then like from making and learning the shoemaking side to the tools, when did that turn into the supply shop? You're like really, you know, a vital, you know, part of all the leather workers now with all the leathers that you stock.
Oh, that's cool to hear. Thank you. So yeah, the timeline's a little bit off here. So it was March of 2017 where I quit my day job, and I did about 6 months of full-time leathercraft, doing some wholesale work. And I looked over, you know, I was working out of my basement at that point, and I had way too much stuff. Like at the time, if you wanted to try out leather, you pretty much had to buy a full side of it, or full skin or hide. And there were a few places here and there where you could get panels and smaller cuts, but like there wasn't a lot of variety. Especially when it came to thickness too. You know, splitting wasn't really available. So I decided to just kind of try to free up some capital and sell all of it. So set up a quick website, kind of committed to, I'm a perfectionist, right? So I kind of committed to like accepted that it wouldn't be perfect. I'd just get something up and put something out there. And with the following I had from District Leather, there were a lot of crafters that followed that account. So I knew there would be somewhat of a base. And in the first week, I sold most of my stuff. I was like, oh my, wow, this is awesome. And you know, I felt like I was doing something good for the community too, because you know, I started by taking all these sides of Horween and other things and cutting them into panels. And so I started offering the things that I wished would have been there when I started crafting, because I had like 25 grand worth of stuff on the shelf. You know, all this stuff went on credit cards too, so it's like, oh my god, you know, I bought this all like just on hope that it would all work out, and you really shouldn't have to do that if you want to get into crafting. So I'm really proud of what we've done with the smaller cuts and and I talk about affordable, attainable quantities. It means a lot to me to be able to serve the community that way.
Oh, cool, cool.
Sorry, so that's about 6 months in.
6 months in.
And then I kind of continued doing District Leather and District Leather Supply at the same time until the supply business really overtook the revenue from my leather goods. And then over the next 12 months, I kind of dialed back District Leather. And that's why our website's totally sold out, just because I can't keep up.
Wow.
But I'll keep that there as a landmark. And then, it's just all been supply since then. And then it was about a year and a half into the supply business where I picked up shoemaking, like actually like making, not just studying. All
right. Oh, cool. Super cool. Do you think you'll make more shoes? Like, are you gonna get back into making, or is it just hard to find time?
Well, it's really hard to find time, but I absolutely will get back into it. And I tinker, like I mess around, like get some stuff. I'll straighten out the camera while I'm at it.
getting comments. Yeah. Ooh, the Christmassy one. Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Shout out Handmade Heat Gang. Porter Footwear. Straight from Nike. Elephant print is so on point. Like it came straight from Nike. Flight School Customs. Thanks for watching. Yes. So, will the AJ1 last be available soon? It's available in Brooklyn Shoe Supply. Oops. I think, hold on, let me try to get him on again. The Christmas, yeah, those Christmas ones need attention. Yes, I agree. Hey.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Somebody called because I didn't put it on Do Not Disturb. So
yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah.
Anyway, point was that, like, you know, I try to make new designs, and I'd never made a loafer before, and no one had a shell. So like, I just late night one night try to figure it out. Didn't end up finishing it, but yeah. So I still mess around.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really important to me to keep going.
Yeah, to keep making. What's your favorite tool that you use with your leather craft?
I think I'm probably most in love with my Palo Santo bevelers. I hooked up with Palo Santo a couple of years back, and we're their U.S. distributor, and it's like impossible now to get these because we get one ship in a month and they sell out in like 3 hours.
Wow.
But these are definitely some of the best bevelers in the world. Super clean cuts and just add like a really refined touch to leathercraft. So I love these. Yeah.
Do you have the shiner? What's it? Not the shiner. The sharpener tool as well, like the.
No, I don't have that, and the main reason for that is I talked to Palo Santo, and they said, like, you really shouldn't use those on these tools. You should really send the blades back or get replacements.
Oh.
Because the best way to sharpen it and keep the right angles and everything is to use the same machines that created them. So.
I see. Yeah. All right.
And then they sent me this really cool brass handle one.
Oh, what? Wow. Wow.
Love this, like a honeycomb.
Yeah. So, how heavy is it?
It's really heavy. It's awesome though. Yeah, it's really substantial. And then I'm also in love with Palo Santo had a brass hammer made for me. It's like a little Thor hammer, and this works really great as a pattern weight. So we sold these for a little while, and then they became hard to come by. So
that's really cool. That is cool. And how about, like, what's your favorite tools that you carry on your site that you sell?
Well, the bevelers and the French divers from Palo Santo for sure. We have scratch alls on occasion, and then the Euro knives from Palo Santo. These things, they're really, really great.
Yeah.
But more recently, I just added Mozart knives. These guys.
Yeah.
The website, and they're just
great.
Yeah, you know, a lot of folks use the Lindispensable from Blanchard, and this is just so much better. Like I like not having to try to sharpen the knife. You just kind of toss the blade, or you strop it, keep it lasting longer, and then just toss it. So it's just awesome to work with. But
that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering, how do you choose like the tanneries that you work with, and like the vendors that you carry, like just from experience of what you've been using, or is there other like ethos? Do you try to like stay close to home? Yeah,
it's kind of interesting that there are, I guess, different responses for different kind of categories of products that we carry. In the beginning, it was all about sourcing hard to find materials and making it easier to get stuff. And now, like, you can get everything from everywhere, it seems like. And then all these tanneries and vendors have websites and Instagram accounts. But it's amazing, even just over 3 years, like in the beginning, that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah.
So it started with the things that I used. I had Horween, and I worked closely with them and brought in some leather from Horween. Wicked and Craig, same thing. And then I worked with a supply partner here in the U.S. who had already worked with some of the Italian tanneries, and we would get inventory from them. And eventually we got to the point we grew enough where we're now working directly with those tanneries. So in addition to those that they helped us start with, you know, I've sniffed out new products and tanneries, or really new leathers from different tanneries, based on trying to fill gaps and just what I think is cool. And that's really what it's all about. It's not necessarily response or in a response to the community. It's me trying to stay a step ahead, and
Oh,
like
wow.
me vetting, and you know, I think it's cool. I'm getting introduced to folks, and really try to grow it that way. So it's fun for me to pick out stuff that I like and then share with people and have them like it too. It's a really rewarding feeling.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very cool. But then you order bulk ahead, so it's almost a limited stock in a way. I mean, you can reorder, but
For some things, you know, when we started, I was picking up a lot of odd lots from these tanneries and, you know, getting what I could. And the models just totally shifted for us, where I'd say 75% of our inventory is all just regular stock that we bring in from Italy. And then we get some random stuff from Wicked and Craig and a few odd lots here and there just to keep it interesting.
yeah.
And that's fun too, when we get the odd lots and they're just random stuff that we have for sale. It's cool to be able to pick that up.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Do you think you can give us a little tour of your space?
Yeah.
So it's a warehouse slash also workshop space.
Yeah, it's a flex space here. We have about 3,500 square feet.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just crazy how fast you could fill up that space too. It's nuts. You know, I started off with just like packing tables, and now we're just full of racks and stuff.
Somebody's asking, what's the best way to get in contact? Email or DM?
DM. I respond to DMs directly, and then I will reply to emails or somebody from my crew. But more often than not, just grab me a DM.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna flip this. Okay. So this is the workshop. I'll start from, or I'll take it from the front door.
Oh, it's nice. It's
Got
ground floor.
overflow belts and coasters here. So
people can totally drive up and come and shop.
We ask that folks schedule appointments.
Appointments.
Especially with COVID.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, we're not officially open to the public, but we take appointments. And I've got random shoe machines like scattered all over because we just don't have room for everything.
Yeah.
And then that's the warehouse space. I'll take you down there in a second.
Wow.
But this is the really cluttered, crazy workshop room.
Cool. Yeah, you were offering sneaker workshops, but now do you feel like you're just gonna do it yourself? Like are you gonna start your own not line of shoes, but would you, as District Leather, like leather goods, like would you make shoes and start selling your line? Or custom order?
Yeah, the focus right now is still the supply side, and so, the majority of any kind of making I do is still mostly R&D and vetting products, and trying to also kind of establish us as like a thought leader in the space, and not just trailing behind and, you know, trying to catch up and sell stuff that other people are selling. Like really get ahead of the needs. You know, I sit at the sewing machine, and what frustrates me, you know, what are some of the things that maybe we could supply from a sewing machine side to help folks out? And, you know, the only way that we could really have a good idea of what's necessary is to be in the trenches here making this stuff. And, you know, there's no other supply shop I know of that does that. I think it's crucial. So,
Cool.
yeah, when things get a little bit more stable, I think in terms of growth with the, well, I hope we keep growing for a long time, but I would really love to get back to making, you know, at least a good chunk of my time and creating. I love making, and I'm a sucker for the attention too, like the Shell Jordan events. That was back. Okay, so let's keep going.
Yeah, send regular Joe Customs. Please send more questions.
We had to move our thread out to the hallway here. So this is our Vinimo small spool.
Nice. Yeah. It's interesting how you got into Japanese goods. Like Vinimo is totally from Japan, I feel like. Maybe
we
not, but
so I was part of a kind of it was pre-Discord. like part of a
Yeah.
pre-Discord like mastermind group, I guess. There's
Uh-huh.
around 25 of us, and we all shared feedback and ideas and
Uh-huh.
supplies and things like that. And so I took a lot of that and was able to run with it and turn it into something more than just like a group share, but
Uh-huh.
actually have a business that provided all this stuff.
That's cool. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, I love the leather. Like it's
yeah.
rainbow right there.
That's
Oh, that's
new opera
great.
suede, and then
Wait. Uh-huh.
all of this is our Italian veg.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so this whole thing used to be like one bay when I moved in, and now
Uh-huh.
the entire length of the warehouse.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, what's this right here on the table?
Oh, this is a croc print, croc embossed
Okay.
from La Perla. It's like an
Uh-huh.
antique finish croc. It's really cool. It's part of some random stuff that we brought in from them. But yeah, this is a trip over box.
Wow. Whoa. That's cool.
Crazy. And then over here we have our production machines.
Uh-huh.
So this is a 16-inch splitter.
Uh-huh.
There's our clicker back there where we cut all of our panels.
Uh-huh.
Our Beast Camoga 32-inch splitter,
Ooh.
which was a
Wow.
huge investment for us, but over the last 18 months that we've had it, it's actually started to pay for itself. So
Yeah.
happy with it.
Oh, that's great. So you can totally control the thickness for your clients.
Yeah, and it's been huge. We stocked almost all of our leather at 5 ounces
Uh-huh.
because that's kind of the point at which like you could use leather for a bag, or it could be good for small leather goods
Yeah.
in cases. But we could split it down to whatever.
Wow.
And that allows us also to have, a more efficient inventory setup,
Yep.
where we're not keeping like 4 different thicknesses in stock, and that helps
Yeah.
cash flow better, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah. That's
Twitter has
great.
just been fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, these are our panels here.
Wow. Uh-huh. How big are the panels?
We sell half square foot, 1 square foot, and 2 square foot panels. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and we were kind of the first one. I think we were the first ones to start selling rectangles rather than squares.
Uh-huh.
When I first started, you could get panels, but they were 12 by 12. And the
Yeah.
problem was, you end up with this weird leftover,
Yeah.
and the yield was really low. So I just thought about most leather goods were rectangular shaped or
Yeah.
definitely not squares.
Yeah.
And I think it's made a big difference.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. And the belting leathers right there. Is that belting leathers or
These are, yeah, it's, strap blanks.
straps? Wow. Wow.
These are awesome, by the way, in case anybody has a bunch of straps. These are meant to hold up lumber, like in a
Oh,
workspace. And you do normally have two of them side by side, but they hold a ton of straps. So that's what we use them for. We have a few around the shop.
wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then these are, yeah, still I'm trying to, wow, it's like a really cool space.
Okay. Thank you. And then we've got sheets of heel counter material,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
go puff down
Oh
too. So
yeah. Uh-huh.
we
Yeah.
started carrying.
Oh, that's great. And this is heat activated ones, not solvent
Right.
activated
Right.
ones.
They
Mhm.
are glue
Thermal.
infused or whatever the term is, and then you just heat them up either in an oven with a heat gun.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then these are some prototypes or samples we have of different elephant prints that we're probably
Yeah.
going to roll out.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's been a lot
Wow.
of fun working with Opera directly and kind of
Uh-huh.
up with these cool color combinations.
That very cool. Yeah. Wow.
And then we're totally out of lasts now. We're waiting on another shipment. So
Yeah. I
that's,
think you and I talked about this offline, but yeah, the last shipments have been kind of wonky.
yeah, that's going to be a new priority for us. The first year I had them, they were just really slow selling.
Uh-huh.
And this time around, when I got a batch in, maybe I ordered like 8 pairs of size 10s and they sold out in like an hour. So
Right.
it's crazy, but it's
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's good.
there's a thriving community and folks are interested in picking up the
Yep.
craft.
Yep. Yep. So out of all the shoes behind you, what are you working on like most recently, and what are you inspired by?
Um, I when I worked with Jacob, I really didn't know a whole lot about the Nike kind of dominance over the sneaker market, and especially with enthusiasts. And I don't like the term sneakerhead. I don't know. I call it folks enthusiasts. So I wasn't really in it. My favorite shoes were Red Wings and Aldens, and I have a lot of respect for Alden, and my goal is to get to Alden quality at some point myself. But so I've just been scooping up tons and tons of Dunks and Jordan 1s, and what's funny is I buy a lot of them with the intent of them being donors, where I basically just use the sole from them. And I've kept probably like 75% of them, and I want to wear them because they're just cool. So, but it's fun. It helps me, I think, stay more connected with the community and understand like what the priorities are and what are the attractive features of different shoes, and what kind of materials can I help source, and again, make things more attainable and affordable for folks, so they're not going to China and ordering 100 yards of something they don't have to.
Yeah. So in your closet, is it more sneakers or more dress and Red Wing?
It's leaning more heavily sneakers now. I probably need to thin the herd soon and even out the proportion, but yeah, I have a huge Allen Edmonds collection from when I was a consultant. And I haven't touched any of them in like 4 years. I haven't, worn a button-up dress shirt since then either. So
right. What are you wearing? What kind of shoes are you wearing today?
I was wearing my Travis Scott Jordan Lows earlier, and now I'm wearing a pair of their dark Loden Dunk Highs. So yeah, it's been cool picking up some of the rarer stuff. Also, I've been having fun with it.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. If someone had leather that they wished to be sourced, by you and then sold in the US, should they come to ask you if they can do that?
Yeah, I'm open to new ideas, and especially if there's, depending on the tannery's MOQs and the anticipated demand here in the States, I'm always open to new ideas. Yeah, absolutely. Reach out and let's see what we can do. Right.
Okay. And then do you all sometimes have wait lists and stuff? Do you have to say like the shipment is delayed from the source? Is there like a waiting list right now for something?
For leather and supplies? Initially we did pre-orders for a lot of things. And especially with COVID now, and also with the growth that we've experienced, that gets tough, and people also get really frustrated when I say a Palo Santo shipment comes in, for example, and if everything would have been pre-ordered, so what's the point of announcing the shipment? And so that kind of takes the fun out of it too. If we get a shipment of tools in, I'd like to give everybody an equal chance to get them. And I think that's one of the fun things about being in this community is being able to get things that are coveted, and I don't know, it's just fun in general, right? Like the sneakers app, you may or may not get it.
Yeah. Okay. And then what's the relationships to Japan? Did you already answer that part? Well, you were saying
yeah, sort of. So that maker group that I was in.
Maker group, yeah. Did they have a lot of Japanese like tool users kind of? Is that kind of how it came about?
Yeah, that, and we have enormous respect for a lot of Japanese crafters. And especially when you're starting, but all throughout your makerness, whatever the word is, like you look at those that you admire and you see what they're using, you see what the tools they're using. And so we saw that a lot of folks were using Venimo and using knives from certain makers and things like that. So that's kind of where I went first.
Cool.
Was to help introduce more folks to those things that we saw those crafters using.
Have you visited Japan before?
Yeah, so I launched District Leather Supply on August 30th, 2017. And we had sort of an informal relationship with Venimo at that point. And 2 months later, it was scary and awesome at the same time. Like on my own tab, I booked a trip to go to Tokyo and meet with a few suppliers and find Japanese brass hardware and some Japanese leather. And I took a week-long trip and set my goal. I've got 4 days to get all this stuff done. And I don't speak Japanese. I know one person in Tokyo, and fortunately I was able to make it happen. So I had some help from a few friends in the community, especially somebody who knew Tokyo and a lot of those the suppliers there. So it was really
awesome
great to have that help and made it happen. And that was the start of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, if you ever need a Jap translator, I'm Japanese, by the way, so you can
really
always reach
appreciate
out. And Yuji, the shoemaker in Brooklyn, he's also the bespoke shoemaker. He's also Japanese. So
Awesome.
if you need, yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it seems like you're like a super doer. Do you have a mantra or motto that you live by?
Yeah, I try to keep things simple. I think that's number one. Just keep it simple and get stuff done. Really, that's it. And unofficially, just follow your passions. If you're gonna do something, go 100% at it. Don't do anything fast. Yeah. And that's kind of what happened here. Just kind of dive
right in. Dove.
Yeah. And just kind of went with it and kind of gambled on myself, and here we are.
Very awesome. Very awesome. Out of like the ones that you made in the back behind you, and some of them that was for clients and stuff, what's your favorite sneaker you've made to date so far? Which one?
I think, I have a personal pair. They're also on the Shell Jordan account. They're the Whiskey Lows. The Whiskey Shell Cordovan Lows. I love those mostly because I own them. And I wear them. And I went to the Nike store to pick up an early release, and like everybody in the store was looking at them, and that was cool. Like, just to be able to flex like that because nobody else can get them. The sad thing about Shell Cordovan is that almost nobody knows what it is. You see alligator on some shoes, and you're like, oh, that's gator, nice. It's different and probably expensive, but Shell just looks like patent leather to most people. So it's also kind of cool that it's like an insider thing. If you know, you see the roll on the vamp instead of the creasing and all that. So but I really do love the breads, the primary shoes for the Shell Jordan account. I'll always be really proud of those.
Cool. If you had all the resources available to you and no worries about life, what kind of shoes would you make and for who?
What shoes would I make?
Or sneakers?
I don't know. I just want to try everything. Like, I have so many donors here. Like, I just bought some these are I just forget the name. Legacies. But they have a Jordan 11 sole on them, and they're purple, and I have matching purple gator, and I'm just so excited to make a pattern and make some purple gator 11s. Like, I just want to try stuff and experiment.
Is it your size?
Yeah, that's my size too. Yeah, that's so fun. I'm a 15 and I can find things, so it's so awesome.
Yeah, that is really cool.
And just do random stuff. Like, I took a dunk upper and I put it on a Van sole.
Yeah.
Just try things out. Mix it up a little bit.
Very cool. And then how about bags or wallets? Do you have like any in mind that you're like, okay, I gotta make that next? Are you kind of focused on sneakers at the moment?
Mostly shoes. I'm still passionate about the small goods and bags, but my heart is really in the shoemaking right now. And I definitely want to get, and I don't want to say beyond. In addition to sneakers, I really want to focus on like traditional welted shoes and make myself those like Alden LHSs or the loafers that I could never buy. Make them myself. And so that's kind of I just want to make the shoes that I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Capability.
Oh, so cool. And then where do you want to be in like 3 to 5 to 10 years? Do you feel like you're just kind of like infancy stage, but like you're growing so fast?
Yeah, I'd really love to be able to represent more tanneries and even more options for folks. I our inventory and our offering is followed my passion and my career as a maker. And so, most of what we had in the beginning was firm veg tan because that's what I was making wallets with.
Yeah.
And even most of our Italian leather now. But now I'm also working on bringing in some textured and tumbled softer leathers because now we have a lot of bag maker customers. And that's something I haven't really gotten into yet, but I know that they need to be served as well. So I want to, same thing that I've done with everything else, I want to get into that personally, have the firsthand experience so that I can better serve that part of the community. So yeah, in the longer term, it's really personally getting into each of those corners, learning more, trying to find opportunities to help folks out.
Yeah.
And then really get into content. I think that's really important. We have so much going on here. And I think folks would find a lot of it really interesting. And I want to be able to share that. We launched a YouTube channel like a year ago and COVID really threw that off. I want to get back to that.
Yeah. Everything takes time, doesn't it? It's just like you have so much on the list of things you want to do and you're like, oh, okay, when do I get to it? But you'll get to it.
Yeah, that's the most painful thing is I just want to do this and I can't because I have these other responsibilities.
Yeah.
But that's good. That means that we're growing and things are happening. So I'm okay with that.
That's great. Another question from customers as well as myself. Do you carry lasting posts or lasting poles?
I don't, and I looked for them a while ago. Didn't see any really good options.
No, it's really hard.
There are lots of good, like homemade remedies for that. I have a hole in one of my tables, and I just put a lag bolt through it. But it bends over time. It's not perfect. So I'm definitely on the hunt for that, and also like hand stitching ponies. That's another thing.
Oh yeah.
I just want to get like the right one for folks that may be something that's not already offered.
Yeah, I remember Emily Parker from M. Parker Leather. She told me about it, like which brand that she uses, and I have to look for it, the name, but it looks great.
Yeah, we'll get there. There's some really attractive options out there.
Yeah, there are.
Really not that prevalent, and if they work out, and I'd be happy to help.
Yeah.
Help folks have access to them easier.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And
Aaron 32 is promoting the lasting post that he has. He's got some.
Oh, wait, I couldn't hear. See, let me see.
I think he said, "I got you $90." So I've been fortunate enough to hook up with a whole bunch of just awesome folks in a Discord group called Handmade Heat, and they're just incredible. There's a lot of enthusiasts and hobbyists and kitchen counter makers in there just figuring out shoemaking.
Oh, cool.
And really helping just move everybody along. And there's like 500 people in that now.
Wow.
And so it's just been awesome to get feedback from that group, share things that I know. And it's really, it's encouraging and it's inspiring to see people just kind of figuring it out. 5 years ago, you couldn't really do that. There wasn't really good basic information out there.
Right.
So yeah, the community's growing and it's exciting. Again, I'm really grateful to be part of that.
Yeah, and I'm looking through the questions too. Sorry, I'm listening.
No, that's all good.
Vision Questions asks, have you heard about ISA Light, the first eco-conscious tannery? Their website says they have a tannery in Mississippi. I don't know.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, I've never heard of them. Okay, I'm gonna write it down. ISA, because all these comments disappear at the end.
Oh, dang.
So
okay.
I'm gonna just look at Mississippi, and then there's somebody asking, when's the next Palo Santo shipment supposed to arrive? Any idea?
So yeah, we keep it pretty casual with Palo Santo. It's one guy in Korea making all these tools, and we've kind of outgrown, the demand has outgrown supply. So we just kind of have this relationship where it's okay, just send me tools when you can.
Yeah.
And I don't even send orders. It's like, just go ahead and make stuff. And when we get it in, we're grateful to have it. So I think the next shipment is leaving first week of February. So we should have mid-February.
Mid-February. Cool.
Yep. And along the eco note, So we carry the toe puff and heel counter from Italy. It's from a company called Morel, and it's cotton based. So the great thing is, it's thermoformable, so you don't need to use solvent, first of all.
Yeah.
But they also have some new products that are biodegradable.
Oh.
So they sent me samples, and I'm looking into carrying some of that as well. So you think about sustainability and in all of that in footwear. It's a good step in the right direction.
Right. Yeah.
And if I can help contribute to that, I will.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, because footwear, it's a lot of components are not eco-friendly, really.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody asks, do you sell garment weight leather as well?
We don't have garment leather. No.
Okay. Got it. Oh, and Dream Factory is great. Yes. Year 32 is what you were telling me. Okay, sorry. I'm just looking through. I guess you're like way ahead. This Discord, yes. Okay, cool. And I read through. Oh, wish I could get district leather supply in Pakistan.
We do ship all over the world. We're not going to have a location there, I think, anytime soon. But we ship to every country that DHL or FedEx or UPS allows us to, or USPS.
Right.
And we have shipped to Pakistan, so if we need something.
Yeah. DM you for orders, or do you? I guess. So do you have all these like customers just like texting you, DMing you, like, when is this coming in? When is that? And like, can we order XYZ? Like,
it can be a full-time job some days, responding to DMs, and I've really tried to get back to them quickly. I think a lot of people are really respectful though, and they make sure that they're not just chiming in to chat unless we're friends. So. But yeah, we do get a lot of questions over DM about supply and restocks, and if we can get something. So I just saw you guys have Butero, and we don't carry Butero. We don't carry Butero, and that's very intentional. So I think Rocky Mountain has an exclusive with Walpier.
Oh, okay.
So we have an even better version of it called Apollo, made by MPG. Coincidentally also finishes Butero for Walpier. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we stocked that. We just got a few new colors of it. I'm going to bring in some more, but if you haven't tried it, you have to try it if you like Butero.
Okay, cool. Now I'm curious too. It's Apollo, and do you just go on your website and you search by name?
You search by name. We have a listing of the tanneries. I just added a new classification called type, so you can search for smooth or textured. And we're going to add even more to make it easier to find stuff that you're looking for. But yeah, you can just search for Apollo, and it'll take you right there. Very
cool. Yeah, it's super, like, you really thought through like who the customer is and what the customer needs, and like it's really cool to see that. And then like now you'll have also all your shoes that you used the leather from, and then you can have like example of what you can make from it. And that's the goal. I'd really like to get into making a pair or two a month to kind of demonstrate and also inspire all the things that we have and the things that you could do with it. Yeah. Somebody says, don't buy it all, y'all. Save some for me. Yeah. Apologize. Any suggestions for leather? I have started to. Oh, I don't know what kind of material. Well, we'll try to answer later, but I gotta write down. That's always a tough one to answer. Is what kind of leather should I use? So there are a lot of factors at play there. Right, factors to it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But what's really fun? Just a quick aside. I was thinking about the what leather to use conversation, and I'm always interacting with these tanneries, and especially kind of the Italian tanneries fell on hard times with COVID. A lot of their large manufacturing customers fell off, or definitely decreased the order volume, and so that's why you're seeing more Instagram accounts from these tanneries, and they might be out the smaller makers because they're looking for business, and so kind of a positive out of that is that they're reaching out with new articles. And by the way, I hate the word article. Like, I don't know why. It's just like,
it makes
Nice.
leather seem like a commodity, and
Yeah.
it's special. It's not. But so they send out articles, different samples and things like that. And in a few instances too, I've been able to ask tanners if they can make something, and they've gone out and made it. So
Oh, that's
waiting for the
cool.
right time to introduce it. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. And then what's the ratio between Italy, another country, and the US? What's your
Oh, for leather?
yeah, what do you
It's
get? What do
almost
you
all
get?
Italian right now.
All Italian.
There are uh, there are several tanneries in the U.S. There are only a few that I'd really like to work with. And you know, we have an interesting relationship with Wickett and Craig,
Mhm.
where I've been working on that for the past few years. So we don't have a full offering of theirs, but some of our competition does. So I'm not really motivated to try to compete with them. You know,
Right.
we started off small. You know, I did what I could with what money we had, and that's kind of, you know, where we are
Yeah.
now. So. But yeah, it's almost all Italian. I would like to bring some Japanese leather back in. I started off having some. And it's one thing when you bring in, you know, 20 sides and it lasts you 4 months. And now if we brought in 20 sides, it'd be gone in like 4 days. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to make that all work.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I'm curious. I actually have never used like a Japanese leather. So, yeah. What would you compare it to? Like you said, you had it before. Like, what's
Yeah,
the
I had a few Japanese veg tans,
veg
and
tans? Are they
um,
different
are they different?
from Italian ones?
Yeah. One that I brought in uh, was called Shonen, and I carried two colors. I carried a natural and a black,
Mhm.
and you know, the tanneries will use different blends of oil and fats to nourish the leather sometimes, so it's not so
Yeah.
dry. And Shonen has a lot of fish oil in it, and so that was really interesting.
Fish
It was
oil.
nice and supple
Uh-huh.
because it had a lot of fat and oil in it, but it also had this really interesting smell. Like I could always tell when I was holding Shonen.
A
Um,
little bit like the sea.
yeah. So, and I think that's great. Like that's what, and the thing about Italian tanners too, like each of them uses a different stuffing blend and it
Yeah.
smells different. Like every
Right.
tannery has a different smell, and
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's one of the things I actually train the guys on is how to tell a leather by the smell.
Smell. Oh.
Because you know, we have 4 different black firm veg tans. How do you distinguish them? So that's one of the ways. But
Wow.
and then they're just it's like Tochigi is just like a really clean, basic veg tan, but it's just a little bit different from what's in the U.S. I don't know how to describe how it's different, but it just is. You have to try
Cool.
it out.
Cool. So next time someone opens the box from you guys, you should smell it first.
Yeah. Yeah, just if you pick up leather from different tanneries, yeah, give them a
Yeah.
smell, and
Mhm.
you know they're definitely recognizable after a while.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then when you were giving us a little bit of tour, like we saw some helpers or staff. Were they like for your, or were they helping you with like packing and stuff?
Yeah, we've got 4 full-time employees.
Wow.
An operations manager, and then we have 2 warehouse associates, and then when he got back there, he's got a role in the warehouse with fulfillment, and then we're also working together on some social media and website work. So,
Cool.
you know, I'm all about growth and treating folks fairly, and I learned a lot of that from being in HR and
Yeah.
managing project teams. So I make sure that
Yeah.
everybody's taken care of, and
Yeah.
hope that's the feedback they give you too. But but yeah, it's amazing. Like I wake up every day, I'm like, wow, I have 4
Yeah.
employees. I never expected that, and we're
Yeah.
probably gonna hire a 5th pretty soon.
When did you hire them? Like, was it during 2020 or was it earlier than that?
We first had 4 employees. It was about 4 months before COVID hit. So I was really nervous. You know, these guys
Yeah.
were new, and you know, it's double the payroll we had before, and I was worried about what COVID would do.
Yeah.
Really worried. I'm gonna have to lay the guys off right away. And one of the things that really helped us get through it and grow was these Instagram story deals that I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Doing them almost every day in the beginning, and that really helped us grow a ton. I'm so grateful it
that's
worked out.
That's great to have a community. Yeah. Somebody's asking, okay, I'll ask. Ask him about Chick-fil-A.
That
Why?
was just something I thought would be funny to throw into the video. But we just thought it'd be cool to put that in there, and just in case anybody saw it and they felt like buying us lunch every week or something like that, it'd be kind of cool. And it's a very Atlanta thing also, and that was, one of the themes of the video.
Oh, funny. Chick-fil-A Jordans in the future?
uh,
Maybe. I don't
Very
know.
possibly, yeah. I've had conversations with a few folks that were also interested in making those. So
Oh,
I think it's entirely possible. Yeah.
oh, that's funny. Cool. Yeah, and then it says the Instagram stories also helped us makers, and we really greatly appreciate them. That's awesome.
Zach, I appreciate that, man.
That's so great. Yeah, you have fans. I've been getting like messages being like, I'm never, I'm so happy you're gonna see him. So yeah, no, thank you for taking your time. And I want to see your creations that you're gonna take some time to make again. So I look forward to seeing those on Instagram soon.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, thanks
yeah,
for having me, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to talking some more, and hopefully, we can help or we can continue to improve the community together. So that'd be great.
sounds great. Yeah. Well,
Awesome. Thank you, and
have an
thanks
awesome.
everybody who joined.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. All right. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Take care.